It's not always an injury on the court that takes you out. Pain and mobility issues arrive anywhere, at any time. The sports medicine providers at MSU Healthcare are here for your comeback.
Patients should expect that we'll spend time with them and listen to their symptoms, tailor a physical examination to their issues, and customize a treatment plan, whether it's surgical or non-surgical, to help them get back to their active lifestyle and goals that they're interested in.
Sports medicine is a bit of a misnomer. We don't only treat athletes or people involved in organized sport. I think the better title for this would really be movement medicine. If you have something that's limiting your ability to do those tasks, we're here for you to help you and get you back moving again.
Even though you're injured doesn't mean you can't be active, and I like being creative and finding ways to keep you active even though we're trying to rehab you through an injury or complaint.
MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine, official providers of MSU athletes and you.
Women's flat track roller derby is played on a variety of floors and surfaces, including concrete, sport court, and wood. The track layout is 108 feet by 75 feet and is flat and oval. It also includes both outside lane and infield area for officials. You'll notice there are two primary lines across one side of the straightaway on the track. The back line is called the jammer line, and jammers must start each jam behind that line on the track. The other line is called the pivot line, and blockers start the jam anywhere on the track between the jammer line and the pivot line. Once the jam starts, the skaters are allowed to skate forward, past these lines, and start making contact. But they must stay on the track at all times, if they can help it. Roller derby is played in increments called jams. Each jam lasts up to 2 minutes. Both teams field up to 5 skaters at the start of the jam. 4 of these skaters are called blockers, and 1 is called the jammer. The jammer wears a helmet cover with a star on it and scores points for the team. The blockers are playing both offense and defense at the same time, and together they make up what is called the pack. The 2 jammers start each jam behind the pack and must get through all of these skaters for an initial pass before they can begin to score points. When the initial pass is complete, a jammer can score 1 point for every opponent they pass with their hips. The first jammer out of the pack legally is declared lead jammer, which means they can end the jam anytime they want before the 2 minutes are up. Sounds easy, right? Roller derby is a hard-hitting contact sport played on quad roller skates. The object of the game is simple: score a point for every opponent you pass. But getting there is not so simple. At the beginning of the jam, each team fields a jammer. The jammer is the skater with the star on her helmet, and she is the only one allowed to score points for her team. After the whistle, each jammer must make what's called their initial pass through the pack before they can start scoring points. On each subsequent pass, they can score 1 point for each opposing blocker they pass upright and inbounds on the track. If a jammer completely laps an opposing jammer, she can also earn a point for passing her. Each point is scored by the jammer's hips getting past her opponents, not her skates, requiring speed, agility, and even a little creativity.
first game, we've got the Kidney Bean. You know, I know, you know. Booty Booty, Nutsack, Axle Rolls, and a couple others, maybe? Not sure, can't see everybody's name from where I'm sitting, but they're wearing the stripes. You'll know them when you see them, okay? Might have heard a little overlap of names from the first bout, and that is right. Some of these skaters, a few from each team, this will be their second bout in a row. So if you want to know how tough it is to be a roller derby skater, well, there's your answer. You may be called upon to skate 2 games in a row from time to time. And up to the jam line for the first jam of tonight's second bout, we've got number 0, Barbie Flay, wearing the star for Lansing. This is going to be number 179, Sydney Bean, jamming for Ann Arbor. Sydney Bean running right up to Lucille Brawl there in the pack. Last line of defense, Inzy Mood and Deacon Bruce. And Lucille Brawl hitting Sydney Bean to the inside. Blue-Eyed Bruiser of Ann Arbor, meanwhile, big hit there on Barbie Flay. Nice recycling there from Blue-Eyed Bruiser. And Sydney Bean still trapped at the front of the pack there by Socialism Activist and Lucille Brawl. Nice bridging there from Inzy Mood of Lansing. Barbie Flay, meanwhile, trapped between the 3-wall, and it's going to be Sydney Bean will be lead jammer. Barbie going for the star pass. Socialism Activist going back to take the star. Sydney Bean coming in for the first scoring pass. Another great shoulder hit brought to you by Lucille Brawl of Lansing. Meanwhile, Barbie taking the star back. Barbie is out, will not be lead jammer. Sydney, halfway through the pack, decides to call it off. And Ann Arbor is on the board there with 3 points. Lansing held scoreless. So first points of the game scored by Ann Arbor. And going up to the jam line for Lansing, we got number 18, Herderino. Herderino will be joined by number 74, Raptor of Ann Arbor. And Raptor hitting that 4-wall there, running right into Motor City Kitty, Mick Jammer, and Ms. Hyde. Sweet Poison also coming in with the assist there. And Raptor nice and trapped there in a wall of black. Oh, never mind. Raptor breaks through. 2 for 2. Ann Arbor lead jam. Herderino, meanwhile, still stuck in the pack, taking a whip there off of Ms. Hyde, rather. Raptor, meanwhile, on that first scoring pass. Raptor coming up against Sweet Poison and Yar there in the pack, holding things down. And that tag team of Ms. Hyde and Yar forces a call-off there from Raptor. And Herderino managed to steal 2 points there for Lansing. Ann Arbor never mind. Ann Arbor picked up 3 points in that jam. So we've got Lansing is on the board with 2, Ann Arbor up at 6. And that is Sweet Poison, number 82, wearing the star for Lansing. This is number 16, Derive, jamming for Ann Arbor. Deacon Brews flying up to the front of the pack, joined by Inzy Mood there. Nice containment there on, oh, never mind. This is Nutter, jamming for Ann Arbor. And Nutter coming up against Lucille Brawl and Inzy Mood there in the pack. But Nutter comes through this 3rd jam in a row. Ann Arbor taking lead jammer. Sweet Poison almost all the way through. Sweet Poison is out of that pack. Nutter coming up on that scoring pass, running into Inzy Mood in the back of the pack. Nutter takes a tumble there, calls it off mid-pack, and Nutter put 2 points on the board there for Ann Arbor. Sweet Poison held scoreless. That's going to bring Ann Arbor up to 8 points. Lansing still at 2. We've got Barbie Flay, number 0, back on the jam line for Lansing. Barbie Flay will be joined by number 179, Sydney Bean of Ann Arbor. And Sydney Bean following her blocker through the pack here. Oh, nice hit. Nice hit from Mick Jammer and Yar there. Great tag team action on Sydney Bean. Nice hit there from Ms. Hyde there in the pack. Motor City Kitty also going to assist there. Oh, and Blue Eyed Bruiser comes in with the boom. Oh, never mind. That was number 123. Sydney Bean is going to be lead jammer. Sydney Bean coming in for the first scoring pass. Number 125 of Ann Arbor coming to have a sit. That is Murder coming in for a seat in the sin bin. Barbie is out, will not be lead jammer. And Sydney scores 4, calls it off. Lansing again held scoreless, bringing Ann Arbor up to 12. So up on the jam line, we've got Herderino wearing the star for Lansing, Raptor jamming for Ann Arbor. And everything is tied up in the pack. 00, Blue-Eyed Bruiser doing a nice job holding down that line of blockers for Ann Arbor. Herderino trapped in the front of the pack. Leslie O has her in her sights there. Deacon Bruce, meanwhile, coming up for an assist there. And Murder coming out of that penalty box like a wrecking ball, making room for Raptor there to get through. Oh, too little, too late. Look at the way Inzy Mood and Lucille Brawl are holding down that tripod for, make that a 2-pod there for Ann Arbor. Deacon Bruce bridging there in the middle. You know, I know, making the pack is here signal. Pack is really spread out. Social Smacktivist also doing a little bridging, but that leaves Herderino stranded in the back of the pack against that Ann Arbor 4-wall, and Raptor is out. Ann Arbor cheering section goes wild. Raptor going to be lead jammer. So far, Lansing yet to get lead jammer in this bout. Raptor coming in for the scoring pass there. Nice hit from Deacon Bruce. Inzy Mood also holding things down there. Herderino trying to get the star pass there. Didn't quite pulled off the star. Didn't quite pull off the star pass. And Ann Arbor scores 2, calls it off. No, make that 3. Ann Arbor up to 15. Lansing still at 2. Clearly, Ann Arbor was watching, taking notes during the first game, thinking, how are we going to keep this from happening 2 games in a row? We got number 82, Sweet Poison, on the jam line for Lansing. That is going to be Nutter Your Business, number 18, jamming for Ann Arbor. And Nutter going at the speed of light, coming up against Motor City and Ms. Hyde there in the pack. And Sweet Poison is going to be lead jammer. Nutter takes a big hit there to the middle. Beautiful recycling there from team captain Yar. Bridging brought to you by Ms. Hyde and making it look so easy. Sweet Poison coming around for 4 points. That's definitely going to cut into Ann Arbor's lead. Sweet Poison tangling with Ann Arbor in the pack there. Nutter, meanwhile, coming up against trouble of her own there with Lansing. Sweet Poison coming around for another 4 points, and Lansing now up to 10. Nutter still on her initial pass. Nutter going for this. Star pass achievement is unlocked. Chorus Lane is holding the star, does not have it on their head just yet. Lansing definitely trying to block that star from going on that pivot's head. They can do that, you know, it's in the rule book. It's kosher. And coming around for another 4 points, it is number 82, Sweet Poison. But out of the pack, it is Cora Slane. Cora Slane coming in for the stats, and Cora Slane takes a hit off her own teammate there in the pack. Sweet Poison picking up 1 more point before calling it off. Oh, make that one. I think Ann Arbor. Wait, never mind. That was Ann Arbor. Cora Slane did steal a point there in that last pass. And Sweet Poison picked up 2 points, so nice 14-point jam there by Sweet Poison. But that 1 point from Ann Arbor, we got things all tied up there, sports fans. Both teams at 16 points. Number 0, Barbie Flay returning to the jam line for Lansing. And this time, third time is the charm, Barbie Flay picking up lead jammer. We got Murder wearing the star there for Ann Arbor, and beautiful recycling there from number 2, Lindsay Mood. Murder taking a hit there from the invisible blocker. Barbie already through on that first scoring pass, and Lansing getting some heat in those wheels now. Lansing now in the lead with 20 points. 4-point jam brought to you by Barbie Flay there. Murder is coming around that first scoring pass. Oh, it's a shutout there from Barbie. Barbie calling it off before Murder can get to the pack. And Lansing has called an official review. We just want to give another shout out to Lansing's community partner, Helping Women Period. Helping Women Period is a tax-exempt nonprofit organization committed to supplying menstrual health products to people who menstruate who are either homeless or low income. Any donation amount is appreciated, goes a long way towards purchasing products. They take donations in the form of cash or in feminine hygiene products. We're talking pads, tampons, liners, wipes, bladder control products, brand new period underwear, brand new cups and discs, as well as makeup bags. And you can find out more about how to help at www.helpingwomenperiod.org. Also want to say thank you to one of Lansing's sponsors this season, MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine. MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine, the official medical provider and a sponsor of Lansing Roller Derby. Also, big ups to anyone watching this bout from the Mayfair Bar. Thank you so much for giving Mayfair your business. We hope to see you at the conclusion of this bout for our after party. All right, the long whistle means we're back into action. No word on what the outcome of that official review is, but the score has stayed the same. Ann Arbor trailing at 16, Lansing in the lead at 20, but that is a very slim lead. We'll see if Sydney Bean can change things in this jam for Ann Arbor, going up against number 18, Herderito of Lansing. And right away, Sydney Bean coming up against that wall of black there at the front of the pack. Herderino finds a hole on the inside, and Herderino will be lead jammer. Beautiful containment there from, they have to let her go. Sydney Bean is out. Ms. Hyde headed to the penalty box. Herderino coming around on that first scoring pass, hits it and quits it, calls it off. Herderino putting 4 points on the board for Lansing. Ann Arbor held scoreless. That's going to increase Lansing's lead to 8. We've got number 74, Raptor, back on the jam line for Ann Arbor, joined by Sweet Poison, number 82 of Lansing. And Lucille Brawl doing her thing, tangling with Raptor there, but Raptor breaks through. Raptor will be lead jammer. Blue-eyed Bruiser, meanwhile, trying to do some recycling there on Sweet Poison. The Sweet Poison has her work cut out for her with Leslie Ope there in the pack. Big hit from the Blue-eyed Bruiser there on Deacon Bruce. And that was what Raptor needed to come through for 4 points. Jam's called off. And we're back. And look at that, number 18, Nutter, making it through the pack. Well, making it up to the wall of black there. Mick Jammer, Yar, and Motor City Kitty holding it down, but they got to let Nutter go. Nutter's going to be lead jammer. Barbie Flay, meanwhile, trying to get the star pass. Look at that. Nice teamwork there from Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor doing a block there. Nutter and Barbie are neck and neck. Nutter, of course, a lap ahead of Barbie, coming in for their first scoring pass this jam. Nice blocking there from Motor City Kitty of Lansing. Mick Jammer also coming in to assist. And big hit there on Barbie from number 15, Chorus Lane of Ann Arbor. And Nutter calls it off. And I didn't see the ref's hand. I'm going to have to keep looking at the scoreboard to see. Oh, Nutter scored 4 points in that jam. So we are all tied up yet again, sports fans. Ann Arbor 24, Lansing 24. And we've got Sydney Bean, number 179, on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Number 18, Herderino, is jamming for Lansing. We got 5-on-5 situation. Everybody is on the track. Sydney Bean looking for a hole on the inside, coming up against Inzy Mood in the front of the pack. Deacon Brews, social smacktivist, also coming in to assist. Big hit brought to you by Inzy Mood on Sydney Bean. Sydney Bean coming up against Deacon Brews and Inzy Mood yet again. Lucille Brawl, hopping, skipping, jumping to the front of the pack for some more containment. But would you look at the way 00 Blue-Eyed Bruiser is holding things down for Ann Arbor. Herderino good and trapped there. Sydney comes out. Sydney will be lead jammer. Sydney already a lap ahead of Herderino. And yet again, this time Sydney knows what to do coming up against that 3-wall. Oh, I spoke too quickly. That was a big old track cut brought to you by Sydney Bean and a power jam for our home team, Lansing Roller Derby. Herderino still on that initial scoring pass. Blue-Eyed Bruiser, an unmoving wall of derby player there. Number 71, Fresh AF, also going to come in for an assist. And Herderino finally coming through. That was Herderino's initial pass. And Herderino now coming in for the scoring pass. Another hit from Raptor there, as well as Derive. Sydney Bean coming out of that pack against her old nemesis, Inzy Mood. And this is a scoring pass, I do believe, for Sydney. Sydney coming up against Deacon Brews and Lucille Brawl there in the pack. They got to let her go. And that's 4 more points. That's 4 points on the board there for Sydney Bean. And tie is broken. Ann Arbor back in the lead now at 28. Sydney Bean hopping and skipping and jumping through the pack. Ann Arbor cheering section going crazy there. 8-point jam brought to you by Sydney Bean. Not bad for a lady who spent 30 seconds of it in the penalty box. But Herderino did manage to steal 3 points there for Lansing. So that cuts Ann Arbor's lead down to 5 points rather than 8. So still things are very, very close, and we are only halfway through the first half of this bout. Number 0, Barbie Flay, is back on the jam line for Lansing. Number 74, Raptor, will be jamming for Ann Arbor. And Raptor coming up against the wall of black there in the pack. Nice hit somebody put there on Mick Jammer of Lansing. Motor City Kitty trying to gather her people together. Barbie Flay finds a hole on the inside and takes it. Ann Arbor's got to let Barbie go. Barbie will be lead jammer. Raptor trapped in the pack there. Nice containment from Motor City Kitty and Mick Jammer there in the pack. Barbie making it look easy, coming around for 4. And Lansing just a point behind Ann Arbor, 31-32. Raptor is out. Barbie going for a second scoring pass. Barbie calling it off just as Raptor reaches the pack. Let's see if, Barbie did put two more points there on the board for Lansing. So 6-point jam there for Barbie, and that's going to put Lansing back in the lead at 33. Ann Arbor 32. And these teams are very clearly, very closely matched here. We got Nutter, number 18, returning to the jam line for Ann Arbor. Sweet Poison, number 82, jamming for Lansing. And Sweet Poison running up against Fresh AF there in the pack. Sweet Poison now running into Leslie Ope in the pack. Inzy Mood and Lucille Brawl ganging up on Nutter there. Oh, we got... Jam's been called off. Not sure what happened there. 32. We've got 13 minutes left on the clock for this period. We got Herderino on the jam line for Lansing. Herderino is going to be joined by number 125 Murder of Ann Arbor. Murder running into Motor City Kitty and Ms. Hyde there in the pack. Oh, Motor City Kitty getting called out on a forearm there. Oh, never mind. That was Murder called out on the forearm. This is going to be a power jam for Lansing. Oh, we got the penalty box filling up with Lansing skaters as number 9, Nadia, says, I'm kind of lonely without Murder. And I'm kind of lonely without Murder did not sound right. Oh, we got all kinds of Lansing skaters in the penalty box. Cora Slane also going to come in for an assist. This is Herderino's chance to strengthen Lansing's lead here. We got 2 blockers. It is number 3, Wolfstone Crash and Blue-Eyed Bruiser doing the work for the whole team out there. Herderino, meanwhile, scoring 4 points. Coming in for a second scoring pass, running into Wolfstone Crash and Blue-Eyed Bruiser yet again. But sometimes all it takes is 2 blockers, and they have Herderino good and trapped. Oh, I spoke too quickly. Herderino, no stranger to the star, picking up another 4 points there for Lansing. Murder, meanwhile, out of that penalty box, looking to mix things up. We got 5-on-5 again. Oh, I just heard a penalty get called on someone. Oh no, Murder likes the penalty box so much he's coming right back. That was a track cut. Still a power jam for Lansing, and Herderino 8 points so far, and we still got 18 seconds left to go in the jam. Mick Jagger doing a nice job hitting Ann Arbor's pivot to the outside. It's pivot-on-pivot action, and Herderino lined up at the back of that pack there, coming up against Blue-Eyed Bruiser and Wolfstone Crash yet again. Cora Slane in the penalty box yet again. Herderino called out on a penalty just as the jam is called off. So Murder has been released from the penalty box, and Murder was standing, meaning her penalty was just about over, and Herderino will sit in the box for the exact same amount of time that Murder was in there. So now we have a power jam for Ann Arbor, and it is 179 Sydney Bean on the jam line. Hope Sydney Bean doesn't want to do a star pass because Ann Arbor's pivot is in the penalty box. And our pack is moving at lightning speed. Deacon Brews coming up to the front of the pack. Last line of defense. Sydney Bean cutting through nicely. Sydney will be lead jammer. Herderino is standing. Cora Slane is standing. Pack is at a standstill. Sydney Bean is coming in for a scoring pass. Inzy Mood and Lucille Brawl holding things down there in the pack. Deacon Brews also coming in for an assist. Lucille Brawl going to the penalty box for that hit, but it did send Sydney Bean to the back of that pack where she has to tangle yet again with the always formidable. Oh, never mind. That was Sydney Bean making it look too easy. 4 points going on the board there for Sydney. Herderino back in action. Meanwhile, Sydney coming in for another scoring pass, running into Deacon Brews and Inzy Mood in the pack. And just staying within the track boundaries there. Sydney Bean picking up another 4 points there for Ann Arbor. Blue-Eyed Bruiser, meanwhile, lining up with some friends there in the pack. Herderino doing a little roll action there to get through. And Ann Arbor's pivot trying to run sweep. Sydney Bean coming around for another 4 points. Scoreboard says Ann Arbor scored 8 points in this jam, still trailing Lansing by 3 points. Herderino has yet to get on the board in this jam. Sydney coming in for another scoring pass. Beautiful block there from Social Smacktivist, but Sydney comes through. 12-point jam for Sydney. Sydney calls it off, and Ann Arbor now in the lead by 1 point. And Lansing held scoreless that jam, so we got 43-44 Ann Arbor. We got 8 minutes left to go in this first half. This is really exciting, sports fans. I bet you're glad you stuck around for this second bout in tonight's doubleheader. This is number 0. Barbie Flay is on the jam line for Lansing. Number 74, Raptor, jamming for Ann Arbor. And Raptor coming up against that wall of black, tangling with Mick Jammer and Motor City Kitty there in the pack. Motor City Kitty putting a big hit there on Raptor, forcing Raptor all the way to the back of that pack. Beautiful sweep action there by longtime Derby veteran Motor City Kitty. But Barbie Flay coming up against some problems of her own there with Ann Arbor in the pack. Nice blocking there from Nadia in the center there. Number 15, Team Pivot, has to let Barbie go, but Barbie will not be lead jammer. That honor goes to Raptor. This time Motor City Kitty has to let Raptor go, and Raptor calls it. That was a double goose, I do believe double goose egg on that jam. But Ann Arbor is still hanging on to their 1-point lead here. That's number 18, None of Your Business, wearing the star again for Ann Arbor. Sweet Poison, a little bit of a last-minute jammer switcheroo there from the Lansing bench, and Sweet Poison scooting up to the jammer line just as the jam starts. So None of Your Business at a bit of an advantage here at the front of the pack. This time, Lucille Pearl's like, I don't want to go back to the penalty box. I'm just going to try to play things safe this time. The playing it safe sometimes means the other team gets to have lead jammer, and that's what's happened here with Nutter. Sweet Poison, meanwhile, still in the pack, tangling it up with Fresh AF and the Blue-Eyed Bruiser. Oh, look at that. Sweet Poison is out. That was her initial pass, and Nutter up on a scoring pass. So that's 4 points there for Nutter. Nutter calls it off, and Ann Arbor now in the lead by 5 points, but sometimes just one jam at a time is how a game is won. Got 6 minutes left to go in this first half. Coming up to the jam line for Ann Arbor, yet again, we got number 179, Sydney Bean. We've got a little bit of, and bench coach Bad Aptitude has just called a team timeout for Lansing. And team timeouts are limited to just 1 minute each, so timeout is over. We got Barbie Flay and Sydney Bean on the jam line. 5-on-5 pack out there. Ann Arbor already lining up a 3-wall in the pack. Sydney Bean scooting around her teammates, getting up to Mick Jagger and Motor City Kitty there in the pack. Yar also going to assist there with this nice, beautiful containment there from Lansing. But Motor City Kitty called to the penalty box for that block. But Sydney Bean not all the way out. Appears that Sydney Bean got knocked to the middle ref lane there. And now she has to get through Hyde. Nice hit there from Yar. And Yar doing a nice recycling there on Sydney. Barbie, meanwhile, up in the front of the pack, tangling with Murder and Magatha there. Nice containment here from both teams. Over 30 seconds, neither jammer out yet. Motor City Kitty enough time to get back into action there. And Sydney Bean will be lead jammer. Motor City Kitty replaced with Yar. So we got a 3-on-4 blocker situation out there Barbie is catching up there to Sydney in the pack. Sydney, meanwhile, on her first scoring pass, cutting through on the inside, coming around for 4. Sydney Bean signals to the Lansing bench that she's going to keep right on going. Wollstonecraft holding things down there in that 3-wall there for Ann Arbor. Barbie is trapped. That's another scoring pass there for Sydney Bean. That's bringing this jam up to 8. Ann Arbor at 56 points total. Barbie taking a tumble there in the middle of the pack. Murder following her right down. Sydney Bean taking a stroll on the outside lane. Another 4 points there for Sid. 12-point jam so far, but it looks like Barbie managed to steal 3 points there for Lansing. That's going to bring Lansing up to 46. Ann Arbor in the lead at 60. So we got a 14-point jam, just a little over 3 minutes left to go in this first half. Number 74, Raptor, is back on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Number 69, Rogue One, jamming for Lansing. Deacon Brews and Inzy Mood lining up at the front of the pack. Social Smacktivist also going to assist here. Lucille Brawl coming in for second line of defense, but Raptor sneaks right on through, picking up lead jammer. Rogue One, meanwhile, trapped by Leslie Ope and Eleanor Roosevelt there at the back of the pack. Blue-Eyed Bruiser also holding things down. Rogue One trying to get a star pass here, and out of nowhere, Raptor has sneaked right through the pack, picking up 4 points. Nice job holding that inside lane open, Blue-Eyed Bruiser, but Raptor trying to go to the outside, coming up against a tight 3-wall there. Inzy Mood, nice job holding things together. We got a star pass to number 89, Social Smacktivist of Lansing, and that was Lansing's first pass through the pack, so no points yet. Raptor calls it, and Raptor put 3 more points on the board there for Ann Arbor. 7-point jam for Raptor there, bringing their total up to 67. Lansing trailing at 46, so you remember we had things all tied up a few jams ago. Now Ann Arbor is in the lead by 21 points. Minute and a half left to go in this first half. Time for 1, maybe 2 more jams, maybe 3, depending on how things play out. I've seen really quick jams before. Herderino on the jam line for Lansing. Nutter, number 18, jamming for Ann Arbor. So is number 18 versus number 18 out there. Motor City Kitty and Yar, probably well over 2 decades worth of derby experience between those two skaters, 2 of the most experienced skaters in Southeast Michigan. But Nutter, no stranger to the star, cuts right through, picks up lead jammer. And Nutter finds a hole on the inside, takes it, blows right past Lansing for another 4 points. Herderino, meanwhile, is still on her initial pass. It appears Herderino is trying to pass the star there to number 21, Mick Jammer, who is her pivot. Nutter, meanwhile, in the middle of another scoring pass, getting trapped behind Motor City Kitty and Yar and Hyde. And let's see if they can keep Nutter trapped there long enough for their jammer to get out. And that could be what we see here. But Lansing is doing a nice job of containment there on Herderino. Cora Slane, number 15, just digging those wheels in like it's their job, which it kind of is, I guess. And everybody here at Court 1 is just going bananas. Don't know if you can hear the crowd there. And None of Your Business coming through for 4 very hard-fought points. 8-point jam so far for Lansing. We got 20 seconds left on the jam clock. We are on jam time now, sports fans. Herderino is out of that pack, did not get the star pass. And Nutter's coming in for a 3rd scoring pass, but Nutter's got to get past Yar, Motor City Kitty, and Hyde, and that doesn't quite happen. That's going to be, but she did manage to pick up 3 more points, so that's going to bring this jam up to 11 points total And that is going to take Ann Arbor's score up to 78. Lansing at 46. Herderino not getting on the board in that pass in that last jam. So we have a 32-point game, and this is the half. We will see you right back here in just 15 minutes.
The Mitten Mavens are a local roller derby organization, a 501c4 in the East Lansing area. Roller derby is super important in our community and for our culture because it gives women the opportunity to be aggressive and to be strong and to be vocal and to be proud about their bodies no matter what sizes and shapes that they are. Our recruiting process happens all year round. We're an open enrollment organization, which means that people can join at any time throughout the year. However, we do host biannual boot camps, which are the best time for people to join. We run one in the beginning of the winter, so in January, and then we run a second in the summer, usually starting about June. And during those boot camps, we train people who have never skated before. You don't need any experience at all. You can support the Mitten Mavens by coming to our home bouts. That's the best way you can support the Mavens, because not only does it grow the awareness of the sport, it grows our fan base, which we love to have as many fans as possible at our home bouts. So you can also get involved with this league by joining as a non-skating official or a referee or a volunteer. You can check us out at www.eastlansingrollerderby.com.
Helping Women Period is a nonprofit that provides menstrual products to homeless and low-income people in mid-Michigan. We were created because there's a need for these products and nobody wants to talk about it. A lot of the people that we help who can't afford these products or have to choose between food for their children and buying these products for themselves, they're under the poverty level. You know, they only make $800 a month, if that, and they have to pay for everything. And when a product costs $10, that's a big chunk out of your monthly bill.
Well, in the past, I used to actually had a pretty good job, and I was capable of buying products for my wife and $2 that I have now. But times are rough, and my wife got ill, and everything went down the hill. So it's good that community like this help out, and I appreciate that.
We can provide that 1 year's worth of product for $35. We have over 145 community partners right now. Helping Women in Period provides 500,000 items annually to those 145 partners. We do this with the help of about 10,000 volunteer hours, which is a pretty amazing thing. Since our inception, we've distributed almost 2 million products in Ingham, Eaton, Clinton, and Shiawassee counties. My daughter was in middle school, and if she had a surprise period, she'd have to talk to the principal or her teacher, and then the principal's office, and then her counselor to get product. Or she could go use a machine in the school, which might or might not work, and it costs 35 cents. So we thought that that was one more barrier for kids of any socioeconomic level, and we just wanted to start promoting free access. So we've installed 2 machines already, and we're working on 4 more in the next week.
They provide so much more than just tampons and pads.
A woman has to decide between, do I feed my kids or do I do this? Not just taking that one woman and giving her something, you're giving the whole family something because it's one less thing she has to worry about.
It's not always an injury on the court that takes you out. Pain and mobility issues arrive anywhere, at any time. The sports medicine providers at MSU Healthcare are here for your comeback.
Patients should expect that we'll spend time with them and listen to their symptoms, tailor a physical examination to their issues, and customize a treatment plan, whether it's surgical or non-surgical, to help them get back to their active lifestyle and goals that they're interested in.
Sports medicine is a bit of a misnomer. We don't only treat athletes or people involved in organized sport. I think the better title for this would really be movement medicine. If you have something that's limiting your ability to do those tasks, we're here for you to help you and get you back moving again.
Even though you're injured doesn't mean you can't be active. And I like being creative and finding ways to keep you active even though we're trying to rehab you through an injury or complaint.
MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine, official providers of MSU athletes and you.
three. 1, 2, 3.
Doubleheader. We are watching Lansing A wearing black taking on Ann Arbor B wearing white. Our current score is Ann Arbor 78, Lansing 46. And right now we've got 179, Sydney Bean on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Jamming for Lansing 82, Sweet Poison. And Sweet Poison just about through, but it's too late. Sydney Bean is going to be lead jammer. Sweet Poison just has one more blocker to fight off. Sweet Poison is through that pack. And Sydney Bean coming up on that scoring pass. Things are moving quick out there. Blue-Eyed Bruiser coming in to have a seat in the sin bin. And Sydney Bean calls it. So no points for Lansing that bout. And Sweet Poison put 2 points on the board there for Ann Arbor, bringing their total up to 80. So 34-point lead there for Ann Arbor. So we've got a 3-on-4 pack going on in this jam. It is Raptor, number 74, jamming for Ann Arbor, joined by number 18, Herderino for Lansing. Social Smacktivist and Lucille Brawl forming a 2-wall there on the inside lane. Then that pack is tight, tight, tight. Blue-Eyed Bruiser coming out of that penalty box. Now things are 5-on-5. Ann Arbor blocker coming through like a bit of a wrecking ball there, trying to help Raptor break things up. And Inzy Mood's got to let Raptor go. Raptor will be lead jammer. Herderino trying to go for the star pass there in the pack. Social Smacktivist making eye contact, trying to get the star. Raptor coming in for that first scoring pass, brought to a halt by Inzy Mood. Inzy Mood and Lucille Brawl tag teaming, but Raptor keeps pushing forward, and pushes forward for 4 points for Ann Arbor. Herderino, meanwhile, trapped in the back of that pack. This is Herderino's first pass, and this is Raptor's second scoring pass. Inzy Mood and Social Smacktivist putting together a nice 2-wall there. Deacon Bruise bridging. Blue-Eyed Bruiser, meanwhile, shoving those hips right into Herderino. It is a Herderino sandwich there with Murder also assisting from Ann Arbor. Social Smacktivist coming to have a seat in the penalty box, so Herderino's going to need to keep held on to that star for right now. And Raptor doing a nice little apex jump there. That's another 4 points there for Raptor, bringing Ann Arbor's total score up to 92. 12-point jam so far for Raptor. We've got 4 seconds left on the jam clock. And Herderino still on that initial pass. And that's a full 2 minutes. That's the jam. So Ann Arbor just 8 points below that century mark now at 92. Lansing still at 46. Number 0, Barbie Flay, returns to the jam line for Lansing. I think I know who that is wearing the star for Ann Arbor, but I don't want to say anything until I see their number. I was right. That is number 18, None of Your Business, jamming for Ann Arbor. And Motor City Kitty hits the ground. Mick Jammer and Yar have to let Nutter go. Nutter's going to be lead jammer. Barbie Flay getting hit to the outside. Barbie Flay looking for a hole, and Barbie finds it. Nutter, meanwhile, coming in for that first scoring pass. Oh, looks like Barbie is getting called out on a penalty. This is going to be a power jam for Ann Arbor. And None of Your Business running into a little bit of trouble with that Lansing 3-wall there. Blue-Eyed Bruiser trying to break things up there for Nutter. Pack is moving pretty fast. Mick Jammer and Yar, number 21 and 22, keeping Nutter trapped. Nutter's like, I think I'm just going to call it off. But that was a strategic move. She saw Barbie standing and said, I want to make sure I call it before she's back in the pack. So this is going to give Ann Arbor a power start going into the next jam. Barbie Flay still the jammer, got 10 seconds or less left in that penalty box. This is number 179, Sydney Bean, up on the jam line again for Ann Arbor. Sydney coming up against that 2-wall there in the pack. Inzy Mood and Lucille Brawl holding down the inside. They have to let her go. Sydney Bean is going to be lead jammer. Barbie, meanwhile, is out of that penalty box and back on the track. Sweet Poison taking a tumble there into the ref lane. Oh, looks like never mind. I thought Sweet Poison was headed to the box there for a second, but instead that is Murder on their way to the penalty box. And we got a star pass from Lansing. It is Sweet Poison, number 82, taking that star. Sydney Bean, meanwhile, on her first scoring pass. Nice wall action there from Lansing. And that sounds like a call-off. But Sydney did manage to pick up, let's see how many points. 4 points there for Ann Arbor. Sweet Poison answering with 4 of her own. That's going to take Ann Arbor right to the century mark with 100 points. Lansing at 50, so we've got a 50-point game and just under 25 minutes left to go in this bout. Herderino, number 18, returns to the jam line for Lansing. This is number 74, Raptor, jamming for Ann Arbor. Raptor coming up against that tight 4-wall there. We got Ms. Hyde, Motor City Kitty, and Yar holding things down. Mick Jammer also going to assist. Ms. Hyde switches to bridging. Murder coming out of that penalty box, breaking up that wall there for Raptor. Raptor takes advantage, and Raptor will be lead jammer. Herderino again going for the star pass in this jam. Raptor already up on her first scoring pass in this jam. Nice hit for Mick Jammer there, but Raptor triumphs, coming around for 4 points, bringing Ann Arbor's score up to 104. So that's a 54-point game for those of you keeping track of the math at home. Herderino still trapped in that pack. Mick Jammer needing to focus on blocking here. Raptor, I almost said Raptor's unstoppable, but that might not quite be the case. Blue-Eyed Bruiser, also a member of Team Michigan, breaking things up there. Breaking holes in that wall left and right for Raptor, but Raptor still trapped in the pack along with Herderino. And nope, Raptor's out. That's going to be another 4 points going on the board there for Raptor. 8-point jam so far for Ann Arbor. And Murder coming right back to the penalty box. Herderino still in the pack, though. I don't see Herderino. Oh, there's Herderino right in the back. A lot of people standing in my way there. Nice hit to the outside from Blue-Eyed Bruiser. Raptor coming around for another scoring pass. If Raptor makes it all the way through, we got 5 seconds left on the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see what the ref says. Ref says 3 points. 3 more points for Raptor. 15-point jam there for Ann Arbor. Lansing held scoreless. We got Barbie Flay, number 0, returning to the jam line for Lansing. Number 18, none of your business. Wearing the star for Ann Arbor. And Lansing switching their wall to the back of the pack this time, just to shake things up a little bit, I guess. Surprise the jammers. But doesn't take Barbie long to come up against that 3-wall. Inzy Mood trying to break things up there for Barbie, but Magtha Trumbull seemingly everywhere all at once. Magtha teaming up with Wollstonecraft against Barbie at the back of the pack. Nutter will be lead jammer. Barbie taking a hit to the inside from Nadia, and nice blocking there from Wollstonecraft and Trumbull. But Inzy Mood doing a nice job keeping Nutter trapped close to the front of the pack. Barbie looking to get a star pass there over to Social Smacktivist, her pivot. Nutter out of that pack, coming around for 4 points. Barbie Barbie is out of that pack. Got a no pass, no penalty situation there. Star pass not successful, but Barbie is out on that initial pass. Our penalty box here is filling up with Ann Arbor blockers, and Barbie takes advantage coming out of that pack for 4 points. Lansing, meanwhile, getting wise to Nutter here. Nice block, and Nutter says, I can't take it anymore, calls it off. And Nutter picked up 4 more points in that jam, so that's bringing her total to 8. Barbie did put 4 on the board for Lansing, so that's going to bring Ann Arbor's total up to 123, Lansing 54, and we have just under 20 minutes left to go in this bout. We got number 69, Rogue One, wearing the star for Lansing in this jam. Ann Arbor still making some decisions over there on the bench. And Ann Arbor has just called a team timeout. We're going to take this time out to remind you of MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine. MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine is the official medical provider and a sponsor of Lansing Roller Derby this season. Also, hope you join us for our after party tonight at the Mayfair Bar, Lansing's official after party partner. You can watch all bouts live on their big screen, so big shout out to all the Derby fans who are already there. Stick around to party with us after this bout. We got 19 minutes left on the clock. Also, want to give another mention to Lansing's community partner, Helping Women Period, HWP, tax-exempt nonprofit organization committed to supplying menstrual health products to people who need them, who are either homeless or low income. Any donation amount is appreciated. And you can find out more about how to help at www.helpingwomenperiod.org. Timeout's over. We're back in the action here. Looks like we got Wallstone Craft and Nadia of Ann Arbor chilling in the penalty box. 2-on-4 pack out there. Rogue One wearing the star for Lansing, and Rogue One taking advantage. Fresh AF has to let her go, and Rogue One's going to be lead jammer, but what is this? Sydney Bean and Rogue One are neck and neck on the track. Sydney Bean successfully forcing a call-off there. Double goose egg on that jam. Sometimes the best you can do as a jammer is just keep that other jammer from scoring, and that's exactly what Sydney Bean just did. We got number 74 Raptor jamming this time for Ann Arbor. Number 0 Barbie Flay wearing the star for Lansing. Everybody's out of the penalty box now. 4-on-4 with the blockers out there. And Raptor shouldering her way, making quick work there. Vinzi Mood and Lucille Brawl. And Raptor is going to be lead jammer. Barbie is out of that pack. Not going to be lead. That was Raptor's first scoring pass. Raptor's bench coach making the signal to keep on going. That's 4 points going on the board for Raptor. Barbie coming in for her first scoring pass. Leslie Ope and Blue Eyed Bruiser. Very effective 3-wall there for Lansing. Trying to force Barbie to the outside. Raptor, meanwhile, making quick work of those Lansing blockers. 4 points going on the board for Raptor. The Ann Arbor cheering section just going crazy here at Court 1. Raptor's bench coach says keep on going. We got a minute left to go in this jam. Lucille Brawl holding things down at the front. Chorus Lane doing their best to break up that Lansing wall there for Raptor. Pack is almost at a standstill there, coming into turn 3. And Raptor comes out. Wait, Raptor was almost out. Raptor's wheel did touch the inside. Better safe than sorry. Line up behind the pack again. Speaking of back, that's where Barbie Flay is. Barbie pinned in place there by Blue Eyed Bruiser of Lansing. Social Smacktivist doing some bridging there for Lansing. Leslie Ope looking to break things up for Raptor there in the pack. Blue-Eyed Bruiser also going to break things up a little bit, make a path for Raptor. Barbie, meanwhile, breaking free, coming around for 4 points, and Raptor calls it off. Raptor picking up 3 more points for Ann Arbor, 11-point jam there for Ann Arbor, 4 points for Lansing, bringing Ann Arbor's total up to 134, Lansing at 58, and we've just got a little over 15 minutes left to go in this bout. Herderino, number 18, is back on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Going to be joined by Nutter, number 18, Nutter, for Ann Arbor. Nutter coming up to that 4 wall there in the front of the pack. Sweet Poison and Ms. Hyde holding things down. Mick Jammer and Motor City Kitty also going to, Motor City hits the pavement there. And Sweet Poison and Yar steering that tripod right around. But would you look at that, Chorus Lane trying to break things up for Nutter there. Herderino, meanwhile, nice and trapped in the back of that pack there, courtesy of Magtha Trumbull and Murder. Nutter almost out, sucked back in the pack there by Yar and Mick Jammer. And nice recycling attempt there by Yar, forcing Nutter all the way to the back of that pack. But Herderino in the same boat here, number 15, Chorus Lane, forcing Herderino to the back of the pack as well. And Nutter drops to their knees there. Nice hit there for Motor City Kitty, and Mick Jammer about to hit Nutter to the outside. And Sweet Poison trying to do a sandbag there on Nutter, but Nutter's good. Nutter's going to be lead jammer. Nutter coming in for a scoring pass, coming up against the mother-daughter duo, Sweet Poison and Motor City Kitty in the pack. Herderino still working on her initial pass. Nice blocking there from Magtha Trumbull, number 83 of Ann Arbor. Murder also coming in to assist. I don't know what that sound means. I think it means somebody's going for the penalty box. Everything kind of stopped. A team timeout there. I'm not totally sure what's going on. Oh, and You Know I Know You Know has just made it an official timeout. I see You Know I Know You Know conferring with our scorekeepers and scoreboard operators over there. So again, we got 13 and a half minutes left to go before we can join all of you at the Mayfair Bar, Lansing Roller Derby's official after-party partner. Hope to see you there, and thank you to everyone who's been giving Mayfair Bar your business, going there to tip a few back while watching Lansing Roller Derby on the big screen. Thank you so much for your support. Just because you are not in the house with us tonight doesn't mean we don't value your support of Lansing Roller Derby. Also, thank you so much to any Ann Arbor fans who might be watching from home back in Washtenaw County. We know Ann Arbor appreciates your support as well, even if you couldn't be here with us at Court 1 in person. So, and looks like that last bout ended with a penalty called on None of Your Business. So this is going to be a power jam for Lansing. Barbie Flay, the only jammer on the track. Blue-Eyed Bruiser and Fresh AF holding down that line. Leslie Ope also going to come in to assist there. And Yar trapping a Lansing, or attempting to trap a Lansing blocker in the back of that pack. Ann Arbor doing a nice job stalling things long enough for Nutter to come out of the penalty box. Lansing was not expecting that. Nutter sneaking through the pack, cutting through on the inside, and Nutter will be lead jammer. And Nutter takes it from fast to slow there, just maybe killing the clock a little bit. Ann Arbor does have a pretty strong lead at this point. Nutter picking up speed as she approaches the pack. Barbie, meanwhile, still trapped on that initial pass. Never mind. Barbie is out, but yes, that was Barbie's initial pass. No points yet for Lansing in this jam. And no points, period, for Lansing in this jam. Nutter calls it. Nutter picking up 2 points there for Ann Arbor. Lansing held scoreless. Number 74, Raptor, up on the jam line for Ann Arbor. 69, Rogue One is jamming for Lansing. And Lansing's pivot joining that is number 15, Cora Slane, joining their jammer there on the jam line. Rogue One coming up against a 3-wall there in the pack. Sweet Poison, meanwhile, giving Raptor some trouble there. Looks like Raptor was the one giving the trouble. Direction of gameplay. Penalty. This is going to be a power jam for Lansing, and Rogue One will be lead jammer. Coach Bad Aptitude making the signal to keep going. Rogue One hitting that pack at full speed right away, tangling with Cora Slane in the pack, but they've got to let her go. Rogue One coming around for 4 points. Lansing fans making some noise in the house here at Court 1. Pack is at a standstill on turn 2. And Rogue One out of that pack for 8 points. Lansing is catching up. Their score now at 6. Nutter passing the star to team pivot number 15, Cora Slane. This will be Cora's initial pass, and Cora is out of that pack. Let's see how Rogue One decides to handle things. We got 43 seconds left. Rogue decides to call it off. Rogue did pick up 2 more points, so nice job, Rogue One. 10-point jam. That's going to bring Lansing's total up to 68. Ann Arbor still in the lead at 137. Lansing fans just going wild here. But we've got 10 minutes left to go, so let's see what happens. Sydney Bean, number 179, is back on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Herderino, number 18, lining up on the jam line for Lansing. Now, if you remember, Herderino's last couple jams was not even able to get out of the pack before Ann Arbor called it. Let's see if she has any better luck this time. Of course, Ann Arbor has been putting up quite the fight all bout long, and no wonder Ann Arbor A is one of the best teams in the Midwest. Sydney Bean taking a hit to the outside there, courtesy of Deacon Bruce, and then Sydney Bean taking a hit from the invisible blocker there, returning to the track. And the last line of defense, Deacon Bruce and Lucille Brawl, they've got to let her go. Sydney Bean is going to be lead jammer, but would you look at that, the curse is broken. 3rd time's the charm. Herderino is out of that pack and half a lap behind. Sydney Bean, Sydney's bench coach says, keep on trucking, madam. Big hit there by somebody. Herderino just goes, that was Leslie Ope there. And Herderino goes flying into the ref lane, but Sweet Poison and Lucille Brawl are giving Sydney Bean a run for her money there. Then Blue-Eyed Bruiser comes in to set things right for Ann Arbor. But Inzi moves a little bit too quick. Blue-Eyed Bruiser headed to the penalty box for that block. Sydney Bean almost out, forced to the back of the pack by number 10, Lucille Brawl. That's awesome. That's really nice sandbagging. Inzi Mood also gonna throw a little hip or two there. And Inzi Mood is everywhere at once in this jam. But Sydney Bean comes through, picking up 4 points there for Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor's cheering section is going wild. Herderino, meanwhile, still trapped in the pack. This is Herderino's scoring pass, and Ann Arbor is going to do everything they can to prevent Herderino from getting even 1 point for Lansing. Oh, somebody got a, I think that was Deacon Bruce, or maybe Lucille Brawl. I couldn't see it that well from here, putting a big hit there on Nutter. Oh, and Lansing has calling an official review. But 4-4. But Herderino picked up 4 points in that jam. That's going to bring their total up to 72. Ann Arbor still in the lead at 41. We got 8 minutes left. And this official review is brought to you by MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine. MSU Healthcare Sports Medicine, official medical provider and a sponsor of Lansing Roller Derby. Okay, official reviews over. We've heard the long whistle. No word on what the outcome was of that official review. But going back to the bout, we got 8 minutes left to go in this bout. Barbie Flay, number 0, is on the jam line for Ann Arbor. That is number 74, Raptor, jamming for Ann Arbor. And Raptor is coming up against Sweet Poison and Yard there in the pack. A formidable blocking duo if there ever was one. Ms. Hyde doing some bridging there. Pack is moving forward. Ed Yar eventually has to let Raptor go. Raptor will be lead jammer. The front of the pack can only be so far away from the back of the pack, or else it's not a pack anymore. And if you're not part of the pack, you can't legally block. Barbie looking to get a star pass. Barbie is on her first pass, and that was Raptor's second pass. So first scoring pass, 4 points for Raptor. Raptor coming around on another scoring pass. Raptor breaking through, almost breaking through that Lansing wall. The instincts are quick with this group. They wall up pretty quickly around her, and you can see they got a nice tripod formation going on. But Ann Arbor not taking it easy on Barbie. Magtha Trumbull, number 83, doing a nice job holding things down. Chorus Lane also going to assist there. Barbie Flay hits the wood. Raptor coming around for another 4 points. This is going to be an 8-point jam so far for Raptor, and we still got 30 seconds left. And we got a star pass to number 21, Mick Jammer of Lansing. Raptor coming around for a third scoring pass. Barbie switching from jammer to blocker almost effortlessly, but Raptor just as effortless, coming through for another 4 points. 12-point jam so far for Ann Arbor. Mick Jammer on her first scoring pass here, getting hit to the outside by Wallstone Crash. That's going to be the jam. And looks like Raptor was not able to add to that 12-point total, but Mick Jammer did put 4 points on the board there for Lansing. We're taking a timeout for a little bit of track repair here. Looks like we're going to have Nutter jamming and going up against number 69, Rogue One of Lansing. And Nutter is off. Nutter looking for a hole on the outside. Inzy Mood says, I don't think so. Ope trying to open things up on the inside there. But Nutter goes for the inside and takes a big hit there from Lucille Brawl. Lucille doing some nice sandbagging there. Rogue One's got her work cut out for them. We got number 71. We got Fresh AF, Blue Eyed Bruiser, and Ope making quite the three wall there at the back of that pack. Beautiful containment there from Ann Arbor. And Rogue One called out on a penalty. This is going to be a power jam for Ann Arbor. And Nutter will be lead jammer. And Pack is a little spread out on the straightaway here. Nutter coming up against the wall of black there. And getting through 1, 2, 3, 4. Lansing blockers picking up 4 points there for Ann Arbor. Rogue One, meanwhile, out of that penalty box, ready to redo that initial pass. Nutter Your Business coming in for a second scoring pass here. Ope trying to open up a hole there. And Rogue One finds the hole. That was Rogue One's initial pass. And Ann Arbor's bench coach is signaling Nutter to call it off, and call it off she does. Nutter did pick up 3 more points there in that jam, so that's a 7-point jam for Ann Arbor. And the refs are calling an official timeout. after-party partner. And we've got, in the 5 seconds, whistle has been whistled. We got Sydney Bean back on the jam line for Ann Arbor, joined by number 18, Herderino of Lansing. Both jammers hitting that pack. And both packs are keeping it tight out there. Nice wall there for Motor City Kitty, Sweet Poison, and Yar. Beautiful recycling there from number 100, Motor City Kitty of Lansing. Herderino, meanwhile, taking a hit to the inside there. That looks like it hurt. That one looks like it hurt. Ann Arbor's wall a little spread out. Oh, I spoke too quickly. There they are walling up again. Nice blocking there from Murder. And Sydney Bean is going to be lead jammer. Herderino trying to get the star pass there over to number 82, Sweet Poison. And somebody laying the lumber there on the turn. Sydney Bean goes flying, but Sydney doesn't stay down for long. Sydney coming around again for 4 points. Herderino, we got a star pass to Sweet Poison, number 82. And just as Sweet Poison comes up, Sydney calls it off. We've got 74 Raptor back on the jam line for Ann Arbor. Number 69, Rogue One, jamming for Lansing. Just 2.5 minutes left to go in this bout. Ann Arbor's up to 164, Lansing trailing at 76. And Raptor making quick work of that pack, but now Raptor's got a tangle with number 2, Inzy Mood. Number 10, Lucille Brawl coming in to assist. Deacon Brews also going to help. And Lucille Brawl lets it go for as long as she can, but Raptor's going to be lead jammer. And Rogue One trying to get a lift off of Sweet Poison there in the pack. This 4-wall from Ann Arbor proven to be a bit much. That is one hell of a 4-wall Ann Arbor's had going this whole bout. Raptor, meanwhile, trapped mid-pack on her first scoring pass. Oh, look at that. Rogue One is out. And Raptor is through that pack, coming around for 4 points. Rogue One coming in on that first scoring pass. Oh, doing their best to put a stop to that. Raptor getting a little further up in the pack. This is Raptor's second scoring pass. Deacon Brews doing a nice job holding together that 3-wall there for Lansing. Nice bridging there from number 2, Inzy Mood of Lansing. Oh, coming through to break up that 3-wall there. And Rogue One, but Rogue One is the one that finds the hole, coming around for 4 points. Raptor working on that second set of 4 points. Oh, and Inzy Mood, Lucille Brawl, just too much. Raptor calls it. Oh, Raptor did pick up 4 more points there. Ref's got 4 fingers up, so 8-point jam there for Raptor. Just 4 there for Rogue One. And we've got 38 seconds left on the clock. Time for one more jam, and it is number 0, Barbie Flay, back on the jam line for Lansing, joined by number 18, Nutter Your Business of Ann Arbor. So Nutter coming in that pack, running right into number 37, Ms. Hyde. Yar holding down that wall together, and number 5, Chorus Lane coming in like a wrecking ball to break things up, but Yar's not going to let Nutter go without a fight, but Nutter still becomes lead jammer. Barbie Flay, number 0, looking to get a star pass here, but scoots right past Mick Jammer, finds a hole, puts the star, about to put the star back on her helmet. Nutter in the middle of the pack, going for the first star pass. Nutter called out on a back block. This is going to be a power jam for Lansing. Motor City Kitty also in the penalty box for this last jam. Barbie taking a ride on the outside there. We're going to go the full 2 minutes. This one, sports fans, we are officially on jam time. The period clock has run out, and Barbie Flay has put 4 points on the board for Lansing. But Barbie coming up against that mighty three-wall in the pack, Wollstonecraft and Murder holding things down out there. Barbie's got her work cut out for her. Murder is an unmovable wall of blocker out there. That's given Nutter the time she needed to get out of that penalty box, come up against the Lansing four-wall. Nutter going for the star pass here. Number 15, Cora Slane, is the pivot, but Nutter gets through the pack on her own power, and they're counting that as Nutter's first pass, so no points yet. And Barbie's got 4 points, and Barbie's trying to call it. I don't think you lead, Barbie. Even though Nutter went to the box, that doesn't make you lead. Doesn't work that way. Wollstonecraft making scary eye contact with Barbie, and that was a 4-point pass for Nutter, and the jam clock has run out. We are at the end of the game. Mick Jammer called out on a penalty just as the game has ended. Well, the refs still have a job to do, whether it's the first, second of the game, or the last. Our unofficial final score, Ann Arbor 176, Lansing 88. We'll let you know in a minute what our official final score is. But first, just want to say thank you so much, first of all, to Ann Arbor Roller Derby for making the drive from Ann Arbor, coming up here to play Lansing tonight. We loved hosting you. Hope to see you here again soon. Also, thank you so much to all of our skating and non-skating officials. Thank you so much for giving up your Saturday night to help us put on a bout. Thank you to our medics. We literally can't skate without you. It is against our insurance, but we were so happy we had you here tonight when we needed you. Thank you so much to my co-announcer, Alex, doing the house announcing thing. Thank you to Devin for keeping this live stream going. And thank you so much to all of you, our fans. You can see some of the fans that we have here in the house tonight at Court 1. Thank you so much to everybody watching this game at the Mayfair Bar or from the comfort of your own home. We really appreciate your support. We are so happy you're tuning in to some Lansing versus Ann Arbor Roller Derby tonight. I am Lexi Pro, your live stream announcer, and thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again here soon.